everybody. I am coming to you from my office today to start this video because we are going to be learning how to use Kittl. And Kittl is a great site to learn to use. It's got lots of elements, great ways that you can design different types of images, whether you want to make SVGs, PNGs, so much more. And they're great for all sorts of different products. And in today's video, we're going to be making a really fun water slide decal. So we're going to use a fun Dollar Tree pillar candle and some water slide, some clear water slide for this. And I'm going to show you all the different steps. We're going to design this cute little design, which I think is so fun. And then I'm going to show you how to do everything here on Kittl. And they're going to offer you guys a really good deal. Right now, you can get 25% off by using code CORINNE YT. So like Corinne YouTube, but it's just YT. And I'll link it down below for you. That way you can find it. But I absolutely love working with Kittl. It's super fun, super easy. Everything's really intuitive. They've got some great AI tools, some awesome templates that you can work with. So check out Kittl. Check the link below, get to know it, highly recommend it for you when you want to start designing and things like that. You can use these designs with DTF prints, you get commercial use license, they're great for sublimation, like I said, you can make SVGs, so there's so much that you can do. Before we get started though, be sure that you're subscribed, that way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content. Let's go ahead and jump into Kittl and get started. To work with Kittl, all you have to do is head to kittl.com. And that's Kittl, no E at the end. I love to try to put an E at the end, but it's Kittl. I'll link it down below. And right now they're offering you guys a deal where you can sign up for 25% off using the link down below and code CORINNE YT. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a really fun water slide decal using Kittl and some of their elements. Now, I do highly recommend playing around with Kittl, learning how to use it on your own. It's really fun just to play because there's so many things that you can do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new project over here on the right-hand side. And when you click that, it's going to bring up a screen that is going to give you options as to like sizing and things like that. Now you've got this really great section here where you can choose your artboard size. So they have social media posts, they've got marketing sizes, business ones, print on demand, but you can also make your own size, which is what we are going to do. So I'm going to change my unit here from pixels to inches, and then I'm going to make this so that it'll fit on the Dollar Tree candle that I'm using. So I want to make this 7 inches wide, and I'm going to make this 8 inches tall. That's how big my candle is around and tall. Then all I have to do is choose create, and it should bring up this blank page, which is what we're going to build on. Now we can change the name of our project. So I'm going to call this Fall Candle Water Slide. That way I know what I use it for, what I decided to make with it, all of that type of stuff. We're going to start with using elements, and you can find all sorts of different things over here on the side. So you can access your projects, templates, text, elements, brand kits, any uploads that you've added, images, textures, and AI from this side. But I want to start simple with you guys. So we're going to start with elements. And what I like to do is I'm going to search for fall, and we're going to see what they have in fall. And we can look at all of these different designs. Now, one thing that I really love about this site is that I can expand this out so I can see lots more of my images all at once rather than just scrolling through like 6 at a time. This is going to bring up a ton of different images. So you can just scroll through and find what you're looking for. Now you can make any design that you want, but for this one, I want to make like a candle wrap. So I'm going to make a design that's going to wrap around this Dollar Tree candle. Now, again, you can use whatever you want, make whatever you want, but I want this to be able to be used for the fall season. So if you find something you like, you can click on it. Now you'll notice that some things have this little gold crown. That means that those are for your paid subscription users, which I do highly recommend getting Kittl. Like I said, you can get that 25% off. I'll link it down below, and the code is CORINNE YT, like YouTube. So let's say that you decide, okay, I like that design. So you can see down at the bottom, it tells you that your element has been added. Now I'm going to add a few different things just to kind of see what I like, what I might want to put on my candle. So you can add a bunch of different elements to your design, and then you can just kind of compare them and see which one really is the one that you want to use. So I'm going to go through, just add a few things and see which one's the one I like. Once I've added a couple of things, I can just close the Elements tab here up at the top. Now it's going to look like a very jumbly mess because it does put everything kind of in the same spot, but you can just move things around by clicking on them and moving them on your page so that you can take a look at each of your elements and see which one you like best. Now, I will say I think this is cute, but that's not really the look that I'm going for. And as much as I adore this cute little raccoon, I think he's going to be a little too big for the vision that I have because I want some of it to wrap all the way around the candle. And I do think he's cute, but I just don't think he's quite the look. Same with this one. I like it, but it's not really the look that I'm going for. Now these two I like, so what I want to do is I'm going to make them bigger just to see what they look like if they were to go all the way around the candle. So I'm just going to expand it just like you do in CRICUT Design Space. You can use the little boxes in the corner to make it bigger. Now, the one thing that I don't like about this one is once it's wrapped around the candle, it's not going to match up perfectly, and I think that will bother me. So as much as I do like this design, I think I'm not going to do that one. But with these leaves, it won't matter if they match up perfectly or not. I think they'll look really cute just because they won't have to be a perfect match. That way when they wrap around, they don't look like they're not exactly even. Now I'm going to pull this up a little bit because I don't want to cut the stems off. So what we're working with here, this is our candle all the way around. So these leaves will wrap around the bottom portion of our candle. Now I am going to make this a little bit shorter when I cut it because I don't want any of that water slide to hang off the bottom, and the top of our candle does have a bit of a lip, so I am going to make this smaller than 8 tall, but when I go to cut it, it won't matter because we'll cut really close to our design. So I do want to have this pulled up a little bit from the bottom here, and then I will put our words a little closer to the middle versus like at the top. Now, we want to add some text, and it's really easy. Over where we found the elements, you can find your text option. And if you click on that, you can do a few things. And what's really fun is they have these pre-made designs that you can just change the wording. And there's so many neat ones. I thought a lot of these in the vintage was really cool. It's not quite the look I'm going for, but I did want to show you them. And again, you can pull it out so you can see them all at once. But again, that's not really quite the look we're going for. Now we can use just regular text, and we can just add the headline where we can type in whatever we want it to say. So you can just, I wanted to say give thanks, so I'm just going to say give thanks. And you can do it simply like that. And then working with it is just like working with text in any other capacity. You can change your font, you can change your line spacing, you can change all sorts of things over here. But I found one when I was messing around with another design that I want to use. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to go back, and under the, I believe it was under the decorative, no, it was here under title pairs. I found a really cool looking one that I thought would be really fun to go with our design. So we've got all these gorgeous ones that we can use, and there's so many fun ones, but I really liked this one, and this one's really fun. There's just a lot of great options over here that you can use to make your designs, and I just thought they were all so cool and so pretty. So I'm going to choose the one that I was playing with was this one that says Echoing Canyon. And I thought it looked so pretty. So I'm going to change this word to give. And it does take a second to like load. So don't worry if it like doesn't load right away. And then I'm going to have that say thanks. Now, keep in mind that white won't show on Waterslide paper. So you want to, choose whatever colors you want. You can change the center color by just clicking this one right here where it's got the F, and then you can change it to whatever color you want. So if you want it to be more of like an orange to kind of match your flowers or your leaves, that's cool. Another cool thing is that you can see here that we've got all sorts of options up here. So you've got copy, paste, delete, ungroup, You can launch Copilot, which is like an AI thing. And then there's like locking it, which will hold it in place. You can bring the layers, all of that. But what I want to do right now is I'm going to ungroup this really quick because I want to move the word thanks away from it just a smidge. And I do want to make the word a little bit bigger. So I'm going to grab this corner and I'm going to make this a little bigger. Now, I also think that the letters are a little further apart than what I want. So right here, you can see that you can change all this different spacing. So down here, I just want to change the letter spacing. And you'll see that as I'm kind of holding the button down, see how the thanks is getting closer and closer together. You can mess with these however you want. You can change them. You can do whatever you want to do. And if you want to change the color of the background with this one, just make sure you have it selected. And then down here, you can change the outline to anything that you want, or you can just completely take the outline off as well. That's completely an option too. It's really up to you and what you want it to look like. Like I said, do whatever you want. Now, let's say you decide, I don't think I like what I changed. The undo buttons are down here at the bottom, and you can just undo it back into what it was originally, and you can leave it as is. So do whatever you want to do. Make it however you want. I'm going to make the give a little bit bigger. And I think I am going to actually switch the thanks around a little bit and just kind of play with this and see if I like it with a black offset here. I'm going to change the offset. Now it's going to look like really crazy. Don't worry, no big deal. What we can do is we change the color of our text. And what I love is down here, it has your document colors. So you can make sure that you match that color perfectly to the give if you want to. So I think this looks really cute. I think this will work pretty well for our design. Now, if I want to check the sizing, because I only have a little bit of space where you're going to be able to see the whole word, just click on the object that you want to see the size of, and right here it'll tell you your object size. So to measure a candle across, I think I want to say I had about 3 inches where you could see pretty well everything, but I think I maybe want to go a little bit smaller. I don't want to go too small with it, but I want to be able to see it all. So I'm going to grab both pieces and I'm just going to size them down just a little bit. That way they'll fit a little bit better onto our design. And now I can just double check the size of that give, and that's a little bit better. Now you can do things like change your opacity, all sorts of things. Do what you want to do. If you change your opacity, you can see that it kind of fades it out. I don't want to have it opaque in any way because we're going to be using a clear water slide. It will be on a white candle though, so I think it'll look really, really good. So once I'm happy with it, which I think it looks really, really nice, I'm good. I don't think I want to add anything else, but you do you. Add whatever you want. Have fun with it. Make it however you want. But what you want to do is when you're finished, you can go right here to the download option. Now you can download this in a bunch of different ways. So you can download it as a PNG, a JPG, an SVG, and a PDF. So there's tons of ways to do this, but I want to download this as a PNG. Now I can have a remove background option, but since it's white and I'm just going to print this as a PNG, I don't need to do that. And you can also do what's called optimize quality, which will just make sure that you get a better quality PNG. Then simply click download, and I'm going to save this into my Kittl folder. And you'll note that the name that I gave it in Kittl does come over to the file as you save it. So it's going to save it as Fall Candle Waterslide. I'm going to go ahead and click save, and then I'll open it and show you what it looks like. So this is our PNG. Now, like I said, yes, it does have this white background, but I'm not really concerned about it since it's going to be printing on to a clear water slide and white doesn't print. But let's say that you want to have a clear background, you want to use it for DTF printing, just simply tell it that you want it to remove the background, and then you can download it. And I'll show you what this one looks like versus the other one. I just wanted to show you the difference. But if you wanted to use this as like a DTF print, or you wanted to use this with printable HTV, I would recommend saving it without the background. I like to print using Inkscape because I find that it gives me the best options, but you print from whatever program you're comfortable with and whichever one your computer does best with. Like I said, mine's a little bit weird with my PNGs. So I just load the PNG into my Inkscape, and then all you have to do is go File and choose Print. And for Waterslide designs, I have a couple settings that I do change. Now I want to use my inkjet printer, which is my Eco Tank from Epson. I'm going to go to Preferences. I always double check my document size and that it's orientated the way I want. Now, like I said, you can do portrait or landscape, whichever works better for your design. I want to change my paper type, and I do find that with Waterslide that using the premium photo paper semi-gloss works pretty well, and even the premium paper matte. I don't recommend the presentation paper matte with the premium. The presentation paper matte works best. Then I want to make sure that I change my quality from standard to high, and I want to make sure that color is selected. I have one more setting that I change under more options. I turn off my high speed print, and that way it doesn't leave any lines when I print. Then I simply click OK and click print. Now, after we print this, I'm going to show you how we seal our Waterslide paper, and then we're going to cut it out and apply it to our candle. I like to print using Inkscape because I find that it gives me the best options, but you print from whatever program you're comfortable with and whichever one your computer does best with. Like I said, mine's a little bit weird with my PNGs. So I just load the PNG into my Inkscape, and then all you have to do is go File and choose Print. And for Waterslide designs, I have a couple settings that I do change. Now I want to use my inkjet printer, which is my Eco Tank from Epson. I'm going to go to Preferences. I always double check my document size and that it's orientated the way I want. Now, like I said, you can do portrait or landscape, whichever works better for your design. I want to change my paper type, and I do find that with Waterslide that using the premium photo paper semi-gloss works pretty well, and even the premium paper matte. I don't recommend the presentation paper matte with the premium. The presentation paper matte works best. Then I want to make sure that I change my quality from standard to high, and I want to make sure that color is selected. I have one more setting that I change under more options. I turn off my high speed print, and that way it doesn't leave any lines when I print. Then I simply click OK and click print. Now, after we print this, I'm going to show you how we seal our Waterslide paper, and then we're going to cut it out and apply it to our candle. When you work with Waterslide, you absolutely have to seal it with something, and I use Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch 2-Time Ultra Clear. Normally I use the glossy, but the matte is fine too. It does not really matter which one. But what you want to do is you want to spray it in a couple of different directions, and you want to make sure that you cover the entire sheet and design. That way everything is well sealed. I let it dry for 15 minutes, and then I come back in and I spray from another direction. That way I make sure I fully cover the sheet, and then I allow it to dry. It was windy, that's why I have paint on the corners. Then I just use some scissors to cut it out, because it doesn't matter that it doesn't cut perfectly. You don't have to use a CRICUT or anything for this, which I think is really great when working with the Waterslide. So I'm just cutting it out with just some scissors and just making sure I don't cut the design. And all you want to do is just cut relatively close to your design, but it doesn't have to be exact. And when you see it on the candle, you'll understand why. It's clear, so it's not really going to show. But you just want to be careful about cutting it. And I do try to cut around all the edges just so that the parts that are sealed are not going to stick to the backing. Then you want to use some lukewarm water and a pan or a bowl that this can lay flat in. It's really important that it can lay flat. Then you use your hands to kind of push it into the water. And I like to hold mine flat since it's such a large piece. I don't want it to wrinkle up on itself and curl in. Now, because this is a large piece, it does need to soak for quite a bit longer than the smaller ones. I let this soak for about 5 minutes, and I had to keep coming back and kind of holding those edges in, just to make sure that it would slide. Now I'm going to test it and see if it's going to move, and you'll feel like the paper kind of slide away from the backing. And it was not quite ready here, but I wanted to show you this and show you that again, I held those edges down to make sure that all of the water was getting onto the paper and nothing was going to stay overly dry. So I held it down for a few minutes, and then I'm going to come back and check it one more time. And this time it's going to slide, and you'll see it kind of move off of the backing paper a little bit. You can really see it up by where I have the words "Give Thanks." You'll see it slide a bit. And you just want to kind of take your time when you're testing it for the slide. Now, like I said, because this is a larger decal, this did take a while. And sometimes moving it around in the water can help get some of that moisture into the center of your decal paper. And that's something that you just kind of have to do a trial and error and kind of keep moving it. Now this time is when it will slide, and you will see that the paper moves off of the backing. And like I said, you can really see it at the top where it says give thanks. Now you want to wet down the blank that you're putting it in. You can just use the water that you soaked in. You want to put a lot of water on that and then kind of squeegee it off a little bit just so it's a little bit wet. Then I'm going to move this pan out of the way, and I'm sorry I didn't get like the perfect shot of this. It was a little difficult to do because I had water everywhere. But you take your decal and you just slide it gently off of the paper so that part of it is touching your blank. And then you can gently hold the one side with my thumb here, and then I'm going to pull the larger piece of paper kind of off from under the decal. So you just take your time. You do want to go slow. Waterslide paper is kind of delicate, but it is such a fun product to work with. But you can see here, I'm pulling out that paper, and you can see that our waterslide decal is sticking on to the candle. Now, because it's got water behind it, you're able to move it around a little bit. If you need to adjust where it's sitting, if you've got any wrinkles, you can push those out gently with your thumb or your finger. I don't recommend using any kind of squeegee on this. You want to just use your hands, and you want to make sure that your hands are wet while you do this. That way you don't risk ripping your paper. So as you can see, I'm just kind of pulling down the paper, getting out any wrinkles that might be in there. I'm sorry, it got a little blurry. My camera did not apparently want to focus. But I do have a little wrinkle right here where it kind of folded over on itself. But because it's still wet, I'm able to pull the paper apart just by kind of rolling it on my finger. And if you get anything like that, you can just pull it back apart and then lay it back down. Now I'm going to go ahead and fix this little wrinkle, and I'm going to keep pushing that water out, and then I'm going to set this out to dry. But first I pat it dry with just a little towel. You can use a paper towel, a flour sack towel, whatever you got. Gently pat it dry and then leave it out to dry. I let mine dry for usually about an hour, and then it's usually good to go. But if you used a lot of water, it might take a little bit longer, or if it's humid and hot, it also may take a little bit longer for your decal to dry onto your blank surface. So you want to just take your time and allow it that full time to dry. It looks pretty cute, looks pretty good. I checked for bubbles, and here it is all finished. I think it looks really, really good. The Kittl designs came out beautifully. And don't forget that you can sign up for Kittl for 25% off using code CORINNEYT. And you can make all sorts of amazing designs with Kittl. And be sure to check out my Instagram. I post a lot of like short reels over there, and I've done a couple about Kittl over there as well if you'd like to know more. If you have any questions, let me know in those comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure that you're subscribed here. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun DIY content we have coming. And be sure to check out all the links down below so you can check out Kittl, and you can check out all the products that I used in this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.